We have Alexander G in studio. Say hello to the listeners.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
So how did you get started in music?
How I got started was actually fairly simple. Started with singing a little backyard band at a barbecue kind of deal, and seeing this blues rock band do some stuff, do a couple of my favorite tunes I really liked. One in particular was called "The Sky Is Crying" by Gary Moore,
Uh-huh.
and the bass player of the band pulled off a really killer bass solo on that song. And I seen that, I was hooked almost immediately. And shortly after that, for about a year, pestered my mom, into getting me a bass.
Okay.
At the time.
All right. Yeah, I heard some of your music, and a lot of people, I guess they don't really pay attention to the bass, and it's actually a really beautiful instrument when someone plays it right. Got a lot of great jazz musicians that play it, and a lot of blues people that play it. And one thing I noticed is that you play music with no words. There's no lyrics to them, and I thought that was a little unique. But when you listen to the music, you actually hear the meaning in it. And what I wanted to ask you was, how do you find your inspiration for writing your music?
It could be anything, ranging from something maybe I see on TV or a picture or something like that. It's usually a visual thing that'll give me an influence or some form of inspiration to do a song about.
Okay, now you have a couple songs that mean a lot to you, Black Rain and This Is Your Life Part 2. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Black Rain is actually very significant, actually. My guitar player, who I've had the privilege of working with for the past 10 years, around about 10 years now, Tracy G. I'm sure that name sounds familiar to some of the listeners and to you as well.
Definitely.
For those of you that don't know who he is, he played guitar for Ronnie James Dio for 6 years, from 93 to 99. Did 3 albums, did 2 studio albums, and 1 live album with him. That's who's performing all the guitar work on my songs.
Okay.
Now, what's significant about Black Rain is that after meeting and establishing a working relationship with Tracy and becoming friends through the entire thing, he gave me his one of his early solo CDs called the Tracy G Group, which is what he calls a black album. It's also a black album as well.
Okay.
Really awesome material. Just really awesome songs. But there's this one song. It was track 4 on that CD called Black Rain, and that one really influenced me extremely heavily. To the point where it's like, hey, you know what? That's the sound. That's the kind of music that I want to do. What really drove me to wanting to do that style of music was the bass line, the way it was just driving and just staying, keeping the beat, holding everything down.
Right.
And just with Tracy just coming in with these mean 3-noted chords, these triad chords are just chords from hell, so to speak. It just sounded so good. It's real melodic, and the chorus on it was real awesome. And I decided to do a cover of this, do my own little version, my own little twists on it.
Okay.
And we ended up doing that. But what's really interesting about doing Black Rain was that same day I had gone in to do a remix of Black Rain. I had already tracked it, but that same day we ended up doing something very, very special. I was packing up, to go home. I was already done, and how This Is Your Life Part 2 ties into it was the day that Ronnie died plays a significant role in this. It was my birthday.
Oh, wow.
May 16th, 2010. Got a phone call. Something I really didn't want to wake up to finding out about.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dio was an influence on me as well, that style of music that he had done. I was like, all right, this isn't cool, So I ended the phone call, did what I had to do. I ended up calling Tracy, and he called me back a little later on. And I told him, I says, hey, you don't know about Ronnie? He's all, no, what's going on? Because him and I at the time, we both knew that he was sick with cancer, which really sucks.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, hey, man, Ronnie passed away this morning, and, this and that. And he didn't believe it, I told him, quite frankly, I didn't believe it either, but it's what happened, again, going forward real quick, we ended up doing Black Rain, and again that same day we did Black Rain, the remix of it. Um, Turns around and he says to me, he's all, you know what, let's do a tribute. Let's do a tribute to Ronnie. So we ended up doing the original demo version of This Is Your Life. There's two versions of that song. The one that we didn't make it on the album, but it's still a very, very, really, really amazing track.
Yeah, it sounds real good.
Yeah, so we just took that song, we learned it, and we just did our own little thing to pay tribute to Ronnie.
Okay, and that song features the 8-string bass.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I heard you playing that, and I was amazed by that, because you got some guys that it's just like the 12-string. People get on it and they hit it, and when you're doing chords with it, that's one thing. But I heard you playing melodies on it, and I thought that was just amazing. That's one of the great things that I see from some of your stuff. Not only that, but how you're able to come up with just music. Like you were telling me about Flight of the Phoenix, how you were inspired by the Rise of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
How you were inspired by that one. Can you tell us a little bit more?
The Rise of the Phoenix, how that one came about was done through a painting.
Uh-huh.
That was done by two very, very close and very dear friends of mine, Tim Phoenix and Sandy Martin.
Uh-huh.
They're just amazing painters, absolutely awesome at their craft of what they do. And they did a representation of a phoenix. And as anybody's into mythology out there and stuff like that, you guys very well know that the phoenix is a very, 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 very powerful creature.
Yeah, absolutely.
And after seeing this painting that they had done, I was like, man, that is really cool. And it was also a way for me to be like, hey, you know what? Okay, I got to do something heavy for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Something to represent strength of what this creature is and what it can do. And so I was, sitting at home one Saturday morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm just sitting there scratching my head, figuring like, what the hell am I gonna do now?
Yeah.
And so I just came up with this riff. I distorted the bass. I was like, all right, that's it, game over. So I came up with it. I called Tracy. I says, hey man, let me go ahead and get in the studio. I got some ideas, and we just threw down. You heard the track yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just went in and threw down and took care of business the way we normally do.
Okay. Now you do have some sponsors, and you're endorsed by certain companies. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. I got a few product endorsements out there. I've got a couple that I'm working on as well, with some other bigger companies. But for media purposes, right now, I'm endorsed by an energy drink called VIP Energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fairly new company. They've actually just opened up their artist endorsement program.
Okay.
I was able to get on the ground floor with that. Really cool stuff. That's played a significant role in working in the studio.
Yeah.
As some of you guys may know out there.
Yeah, you put a lot of time in the studio.
Yeah, you do. And, I know that. I also got another awesome company called Intune Guitar Picks. Some of you guys have heard of them. They're out there. Very well-known company.
Mm-hmm.
This the gentleman, Bert, major props to him, for taking time out to work with me. They've designed 2 signature picks for me.
Okay.
And all that. So it's awesome product to use. Another company called ISP Technologies. For some of you guitar players, deal with a lot of, noise issues, kind of like what we were dealing with earlier.
Right.
This really awesome noise reducer is called the Decimator, which is exactly what I use.
Okay.
There's no big secret to the gear I use. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good, really good unit to use.
Okay.
Great company, Buck. He's the guy that I work with. I was actually interviewed over at the NAMM show this year. I was at NAMM 2011.
2011.
And we did the interview there. They asked me, like, hey, what do you think of this? But it's really cool, awesome thing. And there's a few other endorsements that I got. I've just been working really close with the companies. It's really good stuff, really good gear.
Okay. Now, what do you have in the works?
Well, right now, most of the stuff that you've heard already, it's going on an album. I'm doing one there, but I'm actually going to split it into 2 because I got some softer material. That's actually called the Unnamed Feeling.
Okay.
And then the second one's called the Heavier Side of Things. And there's a few surprises in there that we're going to be doing and all this, but I've got a little pet project that I'm working on right now.
Okay. And where can the listeners go and listen to some of your music?
You can actually just go ahead and go to the website. There, the Facebook music page. It's all on there. Official G-Bass Music. It's on there.
Okay. Now we're in studio with Alexander G. We'd like to thank you for coming in, and let's listen to "This Is Your Life" Part 2.